The first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima.
Over humanity!
The fires of frustration and discord are burning in every
Let us
city.
not forget for a moment the toils and effort that lie ahead.
They say that those who forget their history are condemned to repeat it. This is the History Lessons Podcast with certified financial planning practitioner Patrick Huey, author of History Lessons for the Modern Investor, and your guide to financial wisdom in the past, present, and future. You ready? Good. Let's get historical.
It's opening day. New grass on the field, fresh chalk on the baselines. Every team technically still in first place. And a whole lot of fans are absolutely convinced they've already seen this year's World Series script. And of course, by the third inning of the first game, some of those fans are ready to call sports radio and vent their anger and encourage the firing of the manager. Now, we do something similar with our money. A couple of new headlines hit about growth slowing a bit, or inflation not falling as fast as we'd like, or energy prices jumping on geopolitical concerns. And suddenly, people want to rewrite their entire financial lineup. One shaky inning in the economy, and it feels like the season's over. But baseball, like investing, is about the long schedule, not just one at bat. Over a full season, every team goes cold. We've all seen it. They also have blown saves, injuries, bad calls by the umps.
Strike three,
The ones that get to October are the ones built with depth, a mix of pitching, hitting, and defense, and a bench that can absorb a few bad stretches. And yes, your portfolio should work the same way. You don't need to guess every pitch from the Fed, and you don't need to call every single recession or every rally. But you do need a diversified lineup that doesn't depend on one star player. You need enough cash to get through a rough patch without selling in panic. You need a game plan based on your season, your time horizon and goals, and not just today's box score. So enjoy opening day. Cheer, groan, overreact a little if you want to. But with your money, try to think like a good manager. Eyes on the full 162, the 162 game schedule, and not just the first few swings of April. After the break, I'm back with this week's history lesson for the modern investor.
This episode is sponsored by Victory Independent Planning. At VIP, our mission is simple. Live well, do good. We build strong relationships with good people and help them turn money into what really matters. Retiring without worry, traveling more, supporting family, or funding the causes and projects they care about most. Based in Naples, Florida and Portland, Oregon, we serve clients nationwide with comprehensive fiduciary advice, retirement income planning, custom investment portfolios, tax strategy, healthcare and Medicare decisions, and estate and legacy planning, all carefully organized around your unique goals. If you're ready for a plan that puts your best interests first, visit victoryindependentplanning.com and schedule your VIP consultation.
On March 30th, 1981, the attempted assassination of Ronald Reagan. Near misses, blind spots, and backup plans.
Want to survive this, we better get on the ball.
On that day, March 30th, just 69 days into his first term, President Ronald Reagan walked out of the Washington Hilton after giving a lunchtime speech. It was the kind of routine appearance that fills a president's calendars. Remarks, applause, handshakes, motorcade. The Secret Service had run this drill countless times. And as Reagan moved towards his limousine, a young man named John Hinckley Jr. stepped from the crowd and fired 6 shots in about 2 seconds.
And I heard some noise and I thought it was firecrackers.
At first, almost no one realized how bad it was. Agents shoved Reagan into the car and he insisted he was fine.
Jerry, get off. I think you've broken a rib. And he got off very quickly.
Only when he started coughing up blood did they divert to George Washington University Hospital. A ricocheted bullet had entered under his left arm, collapsing a lung and coming perilously close to his heart. Within minutes, the White House press team was improvising statements. Cabinet members were debating continuity of government, and the nation was reminded how quickly routine can become existential. Reagan, of course, survived, in part because of skilled medical care, and in part because the system, imperfect as it was, had redundancy, training, and contingency all baked in. The aftermath exposed serious blind spots. Security protocols were reevaluated. Mental health and gun laws came under scrutiny. The 25th Amendment and presidential succession, dusty civics class topics a week earlier, became very real concerns. What looked like a well-oiled machine had weak points that only a crisis made visible. But it also had strengths, clear lines of authority, practiced teams, and enough backup capacity to keep the government functioning even as doctors worked to save the president's life. For investors and retirees, that day offers more than political history. It's a vivid example of how quickly plans can be stress tested, how dangerous blind spots can be, and how valuable it is to have a real backup built in before something goes wrong. Here then are 4 lessons for the modern investor from March 30th, 1981. First, let's not confuse so far so good with safety, shall we? Before the shots were even fired, the Reagan operation had every reason to feel confident. They'd handled countless public events without major incident. He was the governor of California previously. In finance, long stretches of calm, strong markets, steady jobs, low inflation can create the same illusion. Hey, we've never had a problem is not a risk management strategy. A good plan assumes that rare events do happen and that your exposure, concentration in one stock, one employer, one property, or one country, can matter a heck of a lot when they do.
That's a source of annoyance to a great many people.
Second, build redundancy into the system. When Reagan was hit, multiple layers kicked in. Agents reacted, the driver changed course, surgeons and support staff mobilized. No single person or protocol had to be perfect. And in your financial life, that kind of redundancy looks something like this. Emergency cash, so one surprise bill doesn't force a bad sale at a bad time. Insurance, so a health event or disability doesn't wipe out decades of savings. And multiple income sources in retirement, Social Security, investments, maybe a pension, maybe some different account types with different tax treatments, rather than just a single point of potential failure. Yeah, redundancy can feel inefficient in calm times, but man, in a crisis, it can be the difference between a scare and a catastrophe.
Tear down this wall.
Third, find your blind spots before they're tested. Hinckley wasn't on most people's radar. The weakness in the security setup only became obvious in hindsight. And most families have similar blind spots. Think a will that's out of date or missing altogether, beneficiaries who don't match your current wishes, or no plans for who steps in if you're temporarily or permanently unable to manage your finances. A comprehensive plan doesn't just ask, what are we investing in? It also asks, who's in charge if I can't be? How are my accounts titled? What happens if something happens to me tomorrow? Yeah, those are uncomfortable questions. And they're the uncomfortable questions that become much harder to address from a metaphorical emergency room or a real one.
Whatever needs to be done to preserve.
Finally, separate the drama from the direction. For a few tense hours on March 30th, it felt like the entire trajectory of the country might just change. Markets reacted, commentators speculated, and the headlines were wall to wall. Then, remarkably quickly, the visible panic faded. Institutions adjusted, policies continued, and the broader economic and political trends that had been in motion before the shooting largely carried on. Markets often behave the same way, you may have noticed in the last few weeks. A sharp, scary event can dominate attention, and it will dominate it in the moment. But long-term results tend to be driven by slower forces. Earnings, demographics, productivity, policy, not by a single shocking day or a few shocking weeks. A solid investment plan respects the shock without letting it dictate your entire future.
Plan to lean back, kick up my feet, and take a long nap. I'll come to think of it, things won't be all that different after all.
Here's my final thought this week. Reagan later joked with his surgeons, you may have heard this one, "I hope you're all Republicans." It was a bit of gallows humor that made the evening news. The more important story wasn't the one-liner, it was everything that had been put in place before that day. The training, the chain of command, the hospital capacity that allowed the country to absorb a near miss without a constitutional crisis. Your financial life deserves the same kind of preparation. You can't script every event, but you can decide now how robust your system is. Whether your family knows the plan, whether your key documents are in order, whether your portfolio and protections are built for more than just the good times. The goal is not to live in fear of what if, but it's to do enough work in advance that when your version of March 30th shows up, you're shaken, but you're not undone.
I've already lived about 20 years longer than my life expectancy at the time I was born. That's a source of annoyance to a great many people.